another one. Today there is a Poulan PP4218AV Pro 42cc primer bulb, choke. So I do like ones with primer bulbs personally. It just makes it easier to start, but it does not have that stupid auto chain system on it, so that's good. People have a real issue with these. I don't really understand them. Yeah, they're not a quality of steel or Echo or something, but they're just, I mean, if you just use it once a year for like a Christmas tree cutting or something, or mild firewood, this is more than adequate. Bar is sharp, very sharp. That might be a new chain, or chain is sharp, not bar. If your bar is sharp, you're probably doing it wrong. Anyway, so I have no idea what's happening with this thing. It has compression. It's not great compression, but it does have compression. Take a look at the status of this fuel tank. There we go. It's about over halfway. Fuel doesn't smell the greatest though. The owner says he was using it, and then later, after putting it away, just doesn't want to run right anymore. I don't necessarily know what run right means. Does it not run at all? I suppose we're here to find that out. Primer bulb seems to be working just fine. Let's put you down. We'll see if we can't get to start, maybe just like bogging or smoking or something. Okay, I have it primed, not choked. Let's see here. Brake on. Oh, never mind, it was choked. I smell fuel. Well, that describes it not running right. Well, like I guess he was right. It wasn't running right. Usually my chainsaws are a lot louder when they're running. I think 3 screws will take it off. There we go. Well, that's supposed to be like that. Let's see if it's flooded. Right. Just bad fuel in the carb cleaning, maybe? Probably. Turn that on. Yeah. Don't know what this stuff is, but it's disgusting. Just wipe that off. Let's see. Should we just put some down to intake? Yeah, that's probably better. Sometimes 2 cycles don't like to cooperate with putting liquids down their throat or down their plug hole. Who would have guessed, huh? So yeah, it was engaging. Okay, just making sure. Maybe one more for good measure. I really need to fix this stupid can. This is just 50 to 1. I'm holding down the throttle in hopes that it will flow into the engine, or the underside of the engine at least. Okay, I'm going to put the carb or the plug back in and we'll give it a yank. So this time, no choke. It's on. Let's see what happens. Not a whole lot. Let's check for spark. I mean, it has compression. I'm not going to say it's like the world's best compression. Still nice and dry. I saw it, but I feel like it went away. Maybe that is off. No. Green means go, and red means stop. So go. Try it with a known good plug. Is it new? No. But do I know it's good? Yes. I'm not seeing anything there either. Looks like we might have a bad coil. So maybe the coil is too far away, maybe the ground cable has a break somewhere, it's shorting. Maybe it's just a bad coil. I'm hoping it's not that one. Not like they're expensive, but I just don't want to have to... Oh, there's another piece. I don't want to have to wait, and like I said, it's like the beginning of December, so they're still having like cyber sale delays and everything. What is this? It seems like an excessive gap. What else? Let me disconnect this and then we'll turn it over with a drill. Disconnected the ground. So if it is a short in the ground, this should at least show us. That's a big NA on that one. Man, that just seems like a lot of a gap. Let's just re-gap it. This is a thick piece of like construction paper for, I think it was a cam. But it has now served dual purpose. Oh, that wasn't even tight. Of course, this is going to make it difficult. There's wires in the way. Plug wire. There we are. That wasn't even tight either. What side's the magnet? That side. Tighten these down. There we go. So now that gap is a whole lot smaller. Let's try this again. Looks like I may have to see if I have another one of these coils. Pretty much doubt it. So, I found this one. That's a lot shorter. We can extend that. This is on the other side. I probably can't see. But the general size and the shape, pretty close. I'm going to try it, and if it fits appropriately and the ground goes on correctly, then I'll give it a pull. We'll turn it with a drill. We'll see if it has spark, and then if everything looks good to go, we'll extend it out. And yep, I already ran into a problem. Screw holes are substantially smaller on this. Now you can drill it out, don't get me wrong. This isn't a whole lot to drill right there. And this is a good coil. So, part shopping it is. A couple days later, and I have a new coil. Let me explain something to you about purchasing coils. I tried to do something with the other one, it just wasn't working out very well. When you purchase a new coil, now, I don't want to say anything coming from China is garbage, because sometimes it's not. But if you do get one, make sure it's at least a higher quality one. Don't get like the $11 one. Now, on 4-cycle equipment, that one goes like 3,600 RPM, so you can get away with it, don't get me wrong. It's probably fine. But on stuff, especially like chainsaws, Now these can rev up to 1500 RPM, oh not 15, like 10,000 RPMs. So you just don't want to kind of cheap out on it. This one, I'm not gonna lie, it did come from China, but it's not a super cheap one. So I guess my point is, there are things that you should and should not cheap out on. Well, I guess you really should never cheap out on anything, but if you are going to, there's things you can get away with and not have probably any problems. Coils for chainsaws is not one of them. Let me explain something. My personal chainsaw is a Husqvarna. Now, Husqvarna, more or less, is an overpriced Craftsman. But I like him. It runs good. I have no problem with it. When I got it, it bogged pretty heavily, actually. And I cleaned the carb, adjusted it. I mean, it didn't even look dirty. No matter what I could do, I just could not get that thing to run right. Turns out, it was the coil breaking up. So it had nothing to do with the fuel. The fuel was fine. But the coil was just very poor quality. This bar is really irritating me. I kind of want to take it off. It's like integrated with a handle. Anyway, I think I have enough. So anyway, point being is don't skip out on the coil. You will thank me later. So, let's turn this around. It's weird. Still sounds like it's rubbing. Let me gap it again. It's even thicker paper now. Okay, much better. Heard the piston going up and down, whistling a little bit. That's good. So I'm going to put it back together, reconnect everything, bring it back when it's done. Get everything put back together. I forgot to connect the kill wire, so I put that back on. I primed it. Let's see if it starts without choke. On. No, it does not. Let's take that off. definitely something else going on here. So you know how I said never buy the cheap ones because you'll get what you pay for? Well, I did. I got a new one because the problems I was having is definitely spark related. This one should be a lot better, I hope. The quality definitely seems a lot better. So, let's find out. Well, so far it's already better. The tab is bent the correct way, so that's good. So maybe we finally got a good one. So there's obviously a few ways to govern an engine, and spark is definitely one of them. So I was having a horrible time trying to just get this to run right, and it just would never do anything. I took the blade off, as you can tell, the chain, checked the clutch, everything was normal, everything was fine, until eventually it just hit me, it has to be this. So I ordered a new one, and we're going to check it out now. This has been about a week later too. I always hate keeping other people's machinery for that long of a period of time. Let's go ahead and install this. Let's put you in a better location until we see something here. That kill wire was not wanting to play well with others. So what side's the magnet? Right there. There we go. Ooh. That's not good at all. There we go. So now should be good. I'm trying to remember how to route this. You know what? I was supposed to put it underneath there. Boo. Man, I have installed plenty of coils in my time, but this has got to be the worst one, by far, hands down. So, this actually is going to go up, that's going through, this is going under, and then this has to be exactly taut. Perfect, otherwise that's not going to close. It's just a giant mess, but it's in there, it's tight, it's in it gapped. Let's us put it on, give it a try, see what happens. Oh man, I used like an entire week's worth of patience on this one. It's just too much, but I think it's good. Let's see if it runs. I don't remember if up is on or, yeah, up is the on. So that's off. That's on. Choke. Let's try no choke. Probably should always prime it. This sauce is just not going to work today. It's been a couple days. It's the weekend. I decided to cool off a bit and take a look at this again. It's still sparking. Like, there's no issue with the coil. I mean, it's brand new. There better not be, you know? So, I decided to take off the muffler. And what do I see there? Hopefully you can see it. Some pretty nasty scoring going on in there. So unfortunately, this is a no-go. And the fuel is fine. It's not like it's a fuel problem. I would call this a cold seizure or a cool seizure or whatever you want to call it. More or less is when you start your chainsaw, you're not supposed to rev them up to their full capacity in the very, very beginning, because the exhaust is going to go out hotter. The metal's going to expand at different rates, and eventually, if you do that, it's just going to, one piece is going to be a little bit too big and start scraping. I believe the piston ring probably was the culprit on that. That's it. So it's probably garbage. Everything on it's fine. The coil that came with it was bad, so we know that part. So I think it was just a combination of bad coil and bad piston. So you can replace it. The fastest one I found takes about 2 weeks to get here, and it's also $40. To be honest, that's about $22 more than I would even consider putting into this saw. So I don't know. I let the owner know, and we'll see what's going on. Hopefully they give me a call back here shortly, and yeah, if they want to fix it, maybe we'll do another one. But in the meantime, hope you like it. Catch me later. Subscribe, put a thumbs up if this helped you with your coil problems. Too bad we couldn't hear it run, but a little hard with a scored piston. Yet again, subscribe. See everyone later. Have a good night. You know what? I think I'm going to take this as an opportunity to kind of go over a few things on this while I put it back together, because I don't think he's going to want to fix it, so I'd still want to give him a complete saw, not just a bucket of bolts. But this will still run mildly, and that's what I was doing. I got to do exactly the same thing. But we don't want it to do the same thing. We obviously want it to run. What's going on with this? There we go. So, but because it will run, once it gets to a higher RPM, it just doesn't have enough power. It just falls on its face. There's no amount of carb tuning that's going to fix that, unfortunately. So that's why, in my opinion, this is trash, because it will idle for a short amount of time, and yeah, but I should have known this from the beginning because this is a fairly common problem with your chainsaw. It seems like everyone likes to hear their saw just rev up very loudly, very quickly, and most importantly, very inappropriately. I'll have to find that screw or that bolt somewhere. But you don't want to do that because you cause this. So let this kind of be like, I don't want to say a lesson, but something to kind of show. Maybe it's over there, whatever. To kind of show another reason why you don't want to do that. Because I'm sure I could tell everyone all kinds of things. But let this be proof of the reason why you don't. Is this chain on backwards the entire time? Well, that's not going to cut very well. You'll get away with it for a short amount of time, and there's no amount of lubrication that's going to fix this. So the proper way of running your chainsaw is this. Now, if yours has one of those triggers that automatically releases the choke, and so it just is gonna, normally rev up a little bit, that's fine. That's not a problem. The problem is when it's idling appropriately and you just turn it on, then you push your trigger and then it revs up and then you keep going. Or if you instantly start cutting from that point, because that's even worse. If you instantly start cutting, you're just asking to ruin your saw. Because now, what are you doing? Let's break it down. You are revving pretty significantly a cold engine. And then, on top of that, you are also, well, that's why it's not even close to being lined up. But in addition to that, you're putting a load on it, and that load puts a whole lot of strain on the engine to begin with. So now you're revving in a high strain scenario with a cold engine. Just don't. There we go. So, probably rambling now. Probably really boring. Probably like no one's watching this part, but I at least wanted to say it. Because this is, like I said, I should have known this from the very beginning. I don't know why I didn't. It's stupid on me, but it happened. Let's turn this down. I think 11's a little high. There we go. Anyway, I'll catch everyone later. I want to do my little rant for the day. So have a good evening. See you now next one.